Warning: the Chaotic Culture Podcast is a program for mature audiences. The language and content presented in this podcast is of a mature nature that some audiences may not find suitable. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Yeah. Embrace the culture, blaze the doja. Grab your loved ones and bring them closer. Extra, extra, read the poster. The KKP is taking over. Sleeping on me, better smell the Folgers. I've been razor sharp since the Motorola. Off for O, like the cover Oprah. Popping bottles, feet all in the sofa. It's a celebration, though the times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge. But it's a celebration, times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Ked the Pro, the one in charge.
We're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture.
Leak!
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. So, if you check this out, last episode, I really appreciated that episode. Actually got the most listens this season. So, I am really excited about that, man. Me and Panda really chopped it up in that anime episode. If you want to hear me and Panda do more shenanigans later on, we'll set something up, obviously. I definitely want to get all of Worst Gen Pod on here at one point or another. Definitely shout out to them. Thank you for being a part of that episode, Panda. Shout out to everybody on there. There's a whole lot of them on Worst Gen, so it's really hard to name. But definitely shout out GB, Sensei LeGlove, One Piece Leak, Warren. Those are the ones that I at least genuinely stay in contact with. And of course Panda, obviously, but those are the ones that I stay in contact with more consistently than anything. But anyway, thank you for that, and thank you if you're definitely tuned in, and keep tuning in. We definitely appreciate the listens and the support. That being said, got to introduce ourselves. This is your boy, Ked the Pro, once again, aka the Calculator Millennial, aka the Cutlass Diamond, aka had to throw that in there finally. Hey man, it's about time. I was like, yes, we finally got it, so I don't have to say it no more, man. We'll just throw that soundbite out there. But back again, once again, always repping for the 843, but 75 is where I reside. We here again, just having a ball, having a good time. You know, glad to have all the squad back in here with us, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves. First, I'm going to start with the first lady of the pod, Miss Nasa.
Y'all already know what it is. It's your girl Nasa, aka Tony Noir, the female Picasso. Welcome to the station in GBGBO. Good vibes only. Y'all already know what is good. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all already know it's good.
Yeah. Word. My boy, go ahead, introduce yourself, man, while we still got the...
AKA Law,
Yes,
AKA Mr. Run It Up. Shout out.
Had to play that again.
Yeah. Shout out to TCF. Shout out to Trade House Investment Company. Shout out to Chaotic Culture Pod.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We back again, another week. Let's get into it.
Indeed. So with that, guys, the first thing I actually wanted to start with before we get into today's discussion, because we got quite a bit of things to discuss. We had some questions for the pod that I'm gonna bring up just to see what everybody's, what everybody's mind is and what everybody thinks about these questions. But before that, just gotta ask, how's everybody doing?
I'm working. I'm getting there. As of this week, I had an amazing weekend this week. Previous weeks, you know, I was kind of feeling a little feeling so, not really sure, unsure. But I kind of get it. I honestly feel like in those moments when I'm kind of unsure or kind of not really knowing what to do, I kind of feel like that's just an opportunity that God is just telling me you need to move. Like,
yep,
you need to step somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
God answering prayers. I just told one. First things first. I'm great. My physical is not all the way there, but you know, ain't nothing that I'm not gonna bounce back from. But on the note that Nasir just stopped on, I just had a conversation with a coworker because it was sent to me from those up high to relay this message.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in a sense of stagnant, or if you're feeling stagnant, or you feel that, you know, things are unclear, or you feel like things are uneasy, you just are very anxious, that is God telling you that the things that you have prayed upon, have worried about, have cried upon are going to be answered all in due time. He told me to tell my coworker that, you know, things are moving. It may not be at the sense or the light that you want, but to just stay steadfast and true to not only yourself, but to him. And he's going to continue to open and move things so that they work in your favor.
Right. And it's not just like you physically moving. It's just like going through the process and trusting the process. Just knowing that, like, okay, I'm okay. Because, like, I feel like the weeks that I had, like the past weeks, it was really more so of worriness and just like the fear of wanting to not succeeding, or
that uncertainty of, okay, are my goals going to be met?
Right. But then it's also have to be in like the mindset, like, I'm good. I'm doing what I need to do. I'm in the right place at the right time. I can't keep worrying about the future because I got to focus on the moment.
You can't focus on a future with a current state that is.
With a current state, I have to focus in on the moment. Yeah.
Come on now.
So
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What about you, KJ? How you doing?
Hey man. So this week has been it's been kind of tiring, only because work schedule got kind of compacted a little bit. I had last Tuesday off, and I had Sunday off, but like this time I didn't get Tuesday off this time. For those of y'all who wonder, we are recording this as of March 23rd, which is Tuesday. So because I didn't get today off like I usually do, it's been kind of like okay, but you know, the stress of this job is not the same stress that I dealt with when I was on the rental side. And that's actually a good thing, because at this moment in time, now it's just a matter of I'm running a different pace, but I want to try and get, you know, the sales numbers up, but I've already surpassed the goal that they have set for me, because they were like, okay, well, you know, this is your first month selling, so we're going to say, with the way that things going, we want you to sell maybe about 9 or 10 cars. Well, with 7 days left in the month, I'm at 10 now. So,
come on now. And
so yeah,
come on,
that's God. That's God talking. Like,
Bruh, we need that.
Let's go. Do I have that?
That's the definition of run it up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Come on, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Matter of fact, we just gotta.
Yeah.
Since I didn't have the DJ horn here, which I thought I did, but I'll probably add it back. And matter of fact, nope, that ain't it. But here we go. There we go. Hey. But yeah, man, that was, you know, God just telling me. And it's repeating. But goodness gracious, how do I get this thing to stop? Let me do something different. Okay. But yeah, it's really just the blessings that have been coming in, the hard work is showing. Now all the other co-workers, because, you know, they're seniors and have been there for a while, they were starting to see that their numbers were climbing too. And I think a lot of that had to do with tax season,
Yeah.
with stimulus checks, and there were some people who are now with that stimulus checks, they're more confident in, purchasing a car. So I think honestly that is, it helps me out tremendously, but on the other side of things, outside of work, everything has been, pretty good. I will say, now that I think about it, today is my cap anniversary. I've been 2 years in the bond. So
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes.
thank you. And yo to the Noops, yo to goodness gracious, I'm about to forget my own line name. That's 3 for me. But anyway, Culture Cut Diamonds. Shout out to them, man. Yo to them. 11 strong, man. We come a long way, aka the most hardworking line of the Hampton Newport News alumni chapter, and I stand by that. If any other Noops in my chapter got a problem with that, oh well. But yeah, man. We've been working, and I've been working, and then just trying to get things together and make sure things are in line. My grandfather is actually doing well, despite the things that happened within the last couple of months. He's back to, he's not the same, but still he's in a much, much, much better place.
Blessings.
Yeah, and so
Honestly.
that gives me the chance to actually go see him next month. If all goes well, Lord willing, and come visit him and just try to have as much family time as I possibly can with him, along with my aunts and my uncle being there, and my little cousin Zahara. I haven't seen her in about it's almost been about a year and a half, almost 2 years now. So I get a chance to see her again and see how much that she's grown. But yeah, that's how I've been, man. Honestly, back in the gym, back working out.
And that's what I've been missing, bro.
Yeah.
With everything that's been going on with me this past month,
Gotta
I
get
can
back in
greatly
the
say
gym.
that I can tell the physical toll that not resuming my physical activity has taken.
Has
You know what I'm
taken,
saying? I still get out
absolutely.
and walk, and
Mhm.
I run to my means, but is anything prolonged in maybe like 20 minutes, I'm just like, yeah, I can't do it, man.
I feel that.
But no, I'm definitely looking April. Y'all are gonna see more movement coming from my camp. Y'all are gonna see fitness, health, diet,
Or
anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm gearing myself for the long haul. But like Nasa said, getting my current foundation sturdy and set in place so that the future is to the moon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So with that, let's go ahead and get into some of the questions that we had for the pod. I'm gonna go start with the Instagram questions here. Before we get political, I definitely wanted to, see what everybody's opinion on this question was. So
I apologize.
yeah, it's all good. So what's the podcast take on Silk Sonic's first single? It's fire.
I'll go first because I absolutely love it. I think like the combination between the two is such a vibe. Like that's a vibe.
Hey.
Okay, because Anderson .Paak, I haven't heard anybody that has sounded like him yet. So Anderson .Paak with his unique style, and then Bruno Mars with his unique style. It's just it's a great combination. I love it. Like okay, when that song first came out, I had that on repeat.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's something I gotta add to my playlist.
Okay.
I'm a little bit behind, but like I said,
Hey, it's
everything
all good,
going on.
man.
I'm gonna get hip, so you know what I'm saying, I could be like, fire.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
My bad, not fire, fire.
Five. Yeah. It's five. That's honestly my opinion. That song is five. Definitely real 70s vibe. As Nasa said, like the combination of Anderson .Paak style and Bruno Mars' style, I knew that it would fit together, but I didn't think it would gel that well until I heard the song, and I'm like, oh.
Because both of them give off like 70s, 80s
I was about to say,
vibes. They-
two funky brothers.
Two
Yes.
funky ass brothers.
Come
It's
on now,
okay.
what you?
Okay, look at okay.
Hey, yeah,
That's
they
almost like putting Boosie Collins and what's his
Funkadelic,
name?
George
Either
Clinton.
them
Or
or
just
Rick James together.
Rick
James,
James. Okay.
Lucy, Rick James, okay.
Like you put them two together. Oh, boy.
Yeah, it definitely got the vibes from that, and so I'm just like, man, y'all need to hurry up and drop this album because
Drop the project, for real.
I'm waiting. I'm ready for this shit. That's how we feel about that song. It is great. I saw the performance at the Grammys, and it was great.
It was
Probably
great.
one of the best performances of the night, if not the best performance of the night.
KJ, speaking of the Grammys, what was your take on it?
So the Grammys itself, how to best describe how I feel about it.
And
it
be
was
real.
It was okay. You know, my the of course, unfortunately, most of the hip hop categories got pushed to the pre-show, which I've always had a problem with. But
That's always expected.
yeah, it's always expected unless it's like somebody big. Like if they know Kendrick is winning, they're gonna put it on the award show. Or if they know something like a big artist is gonna win Best Rap Album, they're gonna put it on the award show. But they didn't do that. Nas won for Best Rap Album, and honestly, King's Disease is a great album, but it wasn't Album of the Year to me, or at least as opposed to.
And what category did he get it for?
He got King's Disease for Best Rap Album.
Okay, we're gonna
And-
have to talk about that because like I.
Yeah. Now look, I preferred. I thought Freddie Gibbs should have got it. Like Alfredo was one of like the best rap project, if not one of like probably one of the best rap projects last year. Like Freddie Gibbs has not had a miss.
Was D
in a while.
Was D Smoke under that category?
Yes, D
'Cause
Smoke
I've
was
seen-
also under that category as well.
I've listened to that
And-
project all the way through.
yeah.
That is actually an excellent project.
And I would have took Black Habits too, honestly.
Black Habits, that
Yeah.
entire album is
Let me ask some questions.
really
for
great.
Room. Do y'all feel that what hip hop embodies does not always curtail to award shows like the Grammys or the VMAs? Or, well, I don't want to say the VMAs.
I was gonna
because
say
that's
that.
music,
Definitely not the VMAs.
That's music videos, but
Yeah.
but you get what I'm saying. Like these upper echelon type events where it's the more notarized platforms.
I will say that the Grammys itself have never really looked kindly to hip hop since they first came out with the awards for hip hop. It's always been more so, at least.
Almost like an inclusion type.
Yeah.
factor,
It's just like, oh, we
don't
gotta
wanna leave
include
y'all
y'all.
out type.
Right.
To
But
not
see,
look a certain way. We're gonna include
We know what it is in air quotes.
yes,
air
we-
quotes.
to not look a certain way, okay? We're gonna include you, okay?
Right. right. But
Okay, but let's not
I think
get cocky.
the way that music is now, because so much, if not 99% of the music now has hip hop elements to it. It's like, okay, but when we getting like to the basic core of hip hop and rap, like, and just to put it in perspective, I don't think Nas's album King Disease should have gotten the Grammy, though Nas was long overdue for some of the projects that he had. Like Life is Good, he should have got one.
So
for,
do you feel like that Grammy was just kind of like, oh, it's long overdue, so we'll just give
I
you one,
that's
so.
I honestly that's what I think. It's just like, dang man, Nas done had
Like,
14
you've been in the
nominations.
game. You've been in the game
Yeah.
for a long time.
On
Four-
some real-
14
Give you your
nominations
credit.
and not gotten a single Grammy. It's like, dog, you
It's
could
that
have.
participation trophy that every kid at soccer gets.
Like-
Honestly,
And
like,
I
that's how I feel. Like
Yeah.
in the light and sense when it comes to merging Black culture and everything that we have made it to be, and what has been perceived therefore coming beforehand, that him getting that award was definitely a participation trophy. Not to belittle or talk down on his accomplishments, because that is a great accomplishment, but in the big picture ticket, it was a participation
Yeah,
trophy,
yeah, I'm
because
like,
just
yeah.
we don't want to leave you out, but we understand that you put in your time to be a great.
And again, like that album is really good. It's not his best because again, like Life is Good, you had Godson, you had Stillmatic, you had Illmatic. Well, the Grammy for Best Rap Album wasn't invented when Illmatic dropped, but still, you had all of these albums that he had dropped beforehand that were much better than King's Disease, but King Disease was still a good album. That being said, I think the Grammy should have went somewhere else. But in any case, the Grammys that Megan Thee Stallion got were well deserved. I honestly thought
well
that
deserved, absolutely.
yeah, I honestly was expecting, especially for Best New Artist, I thought that the Grammys being the Grammys, that they were going to give it to Doja Cat. Like, that was in the back of my head, like, yo, they about to give this award to Doja. And not taking away from Doja, you know, I have my issues with Doja Cat.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you.
I do have my issues with Doja, but that being said, she still put out a lot of work. She still put out a good body of work that got a lot of attention. And I honestly thought they were just going to hand that award to her. But the fact that they gave it to Megan actually was like, okay, y'all, all right, well deserved. Thank you. Y'all did right by her. So no complaints there. I do want to talk about the little performance that her and Cardi had, but we'll get to that after the question segment because that was an interesting topic. So next question from the Instagram. This was actually posted on my personal Instagram. Let me see if I can bring it up if my phone won't stop acting stupid.
I'm about to say another tap or another little tidbit. If you didn't know, if you have like different profiles for like business or your personal, you can double tap the right hand lower corner and it'll switch between the two for you.
Yep. So, this one was asked. My brother actually asked me this one on my personal page. Shout out to Dr. Nikael James, DMD. Excuse me, DDS. Goodness gracious. What are your opinions on Joe Biden's first few months as president?
Indifferent.
I'm like you. I'm kind of in the middle. It's like, okay, it's not exciting. I'm not hyped for it or anything like that. And there are some things that he has and has not done to where I'm still trying to be like, okay, Biden, what are you doing? Come on, let's get this ball rolling. We still trying to get these student loans canceled, and you're not moving. What's going on here? I understand that he wants to like let Congress handle it because that is such a big task and whatnot. But it's still like you could put more pressure behind it to get it done. Just as well, there are some things that I think he's doing good. But what was you about to say, Law?
We have to take into consideration that him coming into office was him pretty much undoing all the dumb, and excuse my language, dumb shit that Donald Trump did while he was in office. And he did 4 years worth of dumb shit. So Biden coming back or Biden coming into office as president, things aren't the same from when he was a vice president.
Right.
Things also aren't the same from the time that he started his campaign. Things also aren't different from the time that he was elected.
Yep.
So, like I said, he's having to go back and curtail his own regime and campaign and board to fix but not completely expunge everything that had happened. Because if he goes in and just makes a complete U-turn of everything that happened, is going to put a lot of people in bad places.
Precarious predicaments. I got you. That actually he actually has a follow-up to that. What has Biden gotten right and gotten wrong? So
I think, well, just kind of starting off on that. Like, I think what he's gotten right, he's only been in there. He hasn't been in there for very long, so it's kind of like you can't expect him to just be Houdini and just
it hasn't been 100 days yet. So like I'm very pragmatic about the situation.
It hasn't even been 100 days, but like I think that what he's done right is that his entire cabinet is very inclusive.
Yes.
First up.
It's very inclusive of pretty much everybody in every race and every color that you can think of, and I think
nationality and creed.
That is very important because representation absolutely matters, especially because he is president now. And I think that showing that as in America we are a mixing pot, having that within his staff is very important to see. Now, do they have a lot of work to kind of take care of and to clean up the mess that Trump's administration has brought? Yes, they do, but I know that they're gonna get it together because I've already seen some of his secretaries, and
I was gonna say to piggyback off of that, like honestly, the way he built his cabinet was to show America.
Yes.
America.
Okay.
That there is no one superior race. At the end of the day, we live within the borders of the United States as one people. And until we actually stop and conceptualize that no matter what happens, that we are all going to be living amongst each other, and to find the means to where we can be at peace, whether it be, this state gets this or this state gets that, or just, demographics really understanding that, again, you are not superior than your next. You know what I'm saying? That is when the true change will come. In my opinion, I think true change will come maybe a year and a half into his presidency. I'm praying that it's different. But for right now, I'm understanding it for what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right now, this first year is going to be him going back in, reading over policies, reading over, different states' legislatures and rules and laws and everything. The second year is when the change will come. And hopefully, like I said, it'll be before the second year. But for right now, that first year is going to be pivotal, and to him understanding what was messed up, and even if it wasn't messed up, how he can make what was already in place better to the masses.
But that, and kind of piggybacking on that, like that's very true. Like within this first year, there is a lot of dismantling that he's going to have to take care of, because of course, within Trump's administration, it was just filled with dysfunction. So he is going to have to clean up that dysfunction in order for
dysfunction and disarray,
and like completely clean that up before actual healing and progress can actually proceed forward.
Yep.
Now, granted, it's he's done a good job as far as with the stimulus. Like that was on time. Like he wasn't playing no games with that. But again, like people need to do realize he has not been in here longer than maybe 3 months. So
yeah, that's something that I definitely wanted to point out, because there are those who really want to hold him accountable, but at the same time, they're not realistic in their accountability. And I say that is just like, okay, I know some of y'all expect him to get certain things done because he said that he would get things done on day one, but let's be real here. I know that you want to hold them accountable, and yes, politicians should say what they mean, but you have to remember that these are still politicians.
These are still politicians, and not only that, he has to go, because yes, he is president, and he, with the sign of a pen, like he can, make shit happen. But he also has to go through the Senate. The Senate has to go through the whole government just to get this thing signed.
Right.
And people are going to be wanting to block those decisions. People are going to be wanting to counter-fight or counter-argue with those decisions. And it's going to be a whole long process before he can actually just sign a piece of paper. And
welcome to the bureaucracy.
Yeah. Right. And I think a lot of people have to realize that yes, Democrats have a majority in the Senate and in Congress, but it's like razor thin. So you're going to have those fights with the opposition to try and get things done, because granted, you think that things can get done easily with the stroke of a pen, and unfortunately, that's not how this country works.
But it's funny that at the latter end of that last term for president, both parties came to the conclusion and was like, all right, well, yeah, he got to go. And in all honesty, yes. And it really boiled down to that. It really boiled down to it. Like, Republicans think right, Democrats think left, and it might be vice versa. But for this analogy, I'm just going to say what I said, left, right. And they realized that, okay, no, we need to meet in the middle. At this point. Expunge the toxicity that is in the seat now. And then we can go back to being left, right, or right, left, or whatever point of view you deem those parties.
Yep. So, as you said, there are a couple things that I think were, as you said, Biden has gotten some things right. There are some things that could, need improvement. As I've said before, of course, we're talking about the student loans. We're still working on. Yeah. Hurry up with that loans, bro. Yeah, we're it is I know people are going to be talking about the border, but there are so many things that we can do other than, focus on the border right now and focus on immigration, because there's still a lot of infrastructure that we need to focus on, which I think that's what he's trying to get going into the next phase. Also, this is not just like for Biden, but something that really irked me was that 43 states have tried to pass over 253 bills to restrict voting, and that irks me so badly. And I know that's not necessarily in Biden's power, but I do know that Congress has thrown out a counter bill to be sure that everyone has equal voting rights.
But you know why that is in place, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, you don't even got to say it. We already know what time it is, man. These folks out here, Republicans and, right-wing people, because it ain't just Republicans, but there are people who are just, they say that, we need to reestablish the integrity in the elections again. I'm like,
the integrity was lost when you elected Trump. I'm sorry not to cut anybody off.
Okay,
but
let's first and foremost,
that's when it was lost.
It's been lost. There was no type of let's not bring integrity in this. So because if there was integrity in voting, women would have been able to vote. Blacks would have been able to vote. All the way back then.
It's no reason why another nation should have any input into what's going on with our affairs.
So let's not talk about integrity, because there was a lack of integrity for pretty much damn near everybody except you.
the white man.
The white man. So I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about integrity. Okay? Like, we beat you at your own game, so you basically make it now impossible for us to actually be able to do the things that we are now required to do by law. So I will give credit. One thing I will give credit to is that the white man is that man is manipulative as fuck. Okay? Like that,
absolutely.
That is a great manipulator.
Master.
That is a master.
So,
all right.
I could go on a whole tirade about that, but I'm for the sake of time, I am going to say, okay, we'll come back to this later, because I have a whole tirade on this whole situation and what the white man wants to do as far as restricting voting. So anyway, next question. This came from, and I'm going to say this correctly because I know I slipped up in the last episode when I said the podcast name, and they know I know the correct pronunciation of it. But Mike Check Waifu actually asked us a question here. For those of us who are anime fans, what anime or anime moment hit the hardest for you, aka blew you back, aka made you shed a thug tear?
When Aaron AOT went back and I guess joined his brother.
Okay. So when he teamed up with Zeke?
Episode, I think it was within the last 3 episodes when he had Misaka and
Mikasa, excuse me.
Mikasa and Armin, yes. Had them at the table and put his hand up with the cut and was just like, everybody hands on the table, shut the fuck up. He was ready to blow that spot all the way up.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, what are you doing?
Hey, bro. Aaron is on some other shit. And I've read the manga, and this shit gets...
No
spoilers. No spoilers at all. I ain't gonna spoil it for you, bro. I'm just waiting for this last chapter to come at the end of this month, the beginning of April, and that'll be the final chapter of AOT. Sad, man. That's one of the best short animes I think of all time. But
thug tear. I was just like, I did not see it going that way. When Gilliard got beat up and they got the beast, not the Beast Titan, the Attack Titan. I was just like, yeah, it's going up from here. And then they put him in the cell, and he was just like, I am free. I am no longer considered a cattle. Basically telling everybody who has been fighting for his side that they're cattle. Being prodded along like sheep. And I'm just like, bruh, you were supposed to be on their side.
Man, trust me, bro, when part 2 drops, you're going to be like, damn, Aaron, damn. I know a lot of people out there are going to be like Jaegerists, and they say that they're with Aaron because they hate Marley. There's a reason why I'm not a Jaegerist. If it was just Marley, I can understand Aaron's frustration, but you'll see why I decided, I can't be on Aaron's side on this one. I'm not on Marley's side either, but you'll see where we're coming from as it gets further along in the anime. But
It also had me weak to see Zeke get chopped up by Levi.
Levi is the GOAT. He is the GOAT. A moment for me outside of the current anime that we're watching, I'm going to go back. I'm gonna go old school, man. I'm gonna say a Dragon Ball Z moment, and I'm gonna do Kai for this very reason. So for Dragon Ball Z Kai, the final chapters, Vegeta sacrifice. I had to throw that out there, bro, because in the original DBZ, when I saw it, I was like, yo, this is so, like, thank you, Vegeta, thank you. And I was really cool with it, but when they re-recorded it for Kai, and I got to give it to Christopher Saba because his voice acting is impeccable. Yeah. Bruh, that shit had me, like, welling up. I'm like, yo, this shit hits harder than the original one did. The music that they laid behind it, the way that he told everybody farewell as he was sacrificing to kill Majin Buu, bruh, I was like, okay, thank you, Vegeta. Yeah, like, yo, you really just literally made me cry right now. Like,
but tell Vegeta to stop biting Goku, because Goku did it first.
Yeah, for damn sure. But yeah,
Cell games.
Cell
that
games.
Was the original sacrifice.
Man, further back, man, when
first,
Goku sacrificed himself to kill Raditz, his own brother.
Yeah, you right.
Yeah, that's
Look, I had to go back and go through the five.
But Goku was sacrificed multiple times, you know. But that I had to throw that out there. Now, Nasa, I don't know if you watch anime, so I didn't know if you had a moment.
I have not seen anime, but there is actually one anime. I think it's Yasuki or some anime show that is coming out on Netflix.
Oh, Yasuke. Okay. The Black Samurai.
I
Yes.
actually am really intrigued by that.
Speaking of samurai,
I do want to see that.
y'all seen Gangsta?
I'm trying to think.
It's
if I
on
have
Hulu. If you have Hulu,
No, I don't have Hulu.
I do. I'll definitely check it out.
check it out. It's basically, to my sense, it's kind of like a spin-off of Dragon Ball Z, just samurai style, but it has its own unique quirkiness. The main characters have the same temperaments of Goku versus Vegeta, but again, they have a third character in there, and she kind of provides the comedic relief to a sense, but she has her own sense in the manga as well. Okay,
yeah, I definitely will check that one out. I'll add that to my list. Once again, I'm doing the Watcher 100 anime challenge. This has been very grueling still, but I've been coming along. You know, it's just I haven't been able to watch a lot of stuff because I've trying to been focused on this challenge, but I'm gonna eventually have to break out to it. Like I've been missing Snowfall, and I'm like, all right, I need to get back
Snowfall,
to it.
Snowpiercer. I think anything that gets broadcast with snow in it is gonna be good. Because right now, I think Snowpiercer just dropped the episode, or it comes on tomorrow night, the new episode. Where they took that series completely unexpected.
Okay.
Snowfall, just gotta watch it, bro. I ain't got no words for it, but it ain't no cliffhanger, but it's leaving you like, alright, what's next? I did finish. I rewatched One Piece, filler and all.
Hey, more power to you, man. I went to just read it. I'm like, all right, I gotta read through at least the first half, because I know like the first half was kind of slow. You were introducing characters.
I couldn't sit through. Look, sitting through and watching the development of characters is just as grueling as reading.
Yeah, you're right.
Granted, like the reading versus watching is different in minute details, but like I said, I watched everything, filler and all. I'm looking forward to My Hero coming back with episodes.
Yes. And shoot, bro, the manga.
I need Super to get their gears in order.
I can't wait for them to drop.
Have you guys seen The Magicians?
I've watched
I've watched The Magicians, but then I stopped. I think because I was waiting for a season to come back, and then for whatever reason, I just didn't pick it back up. And I love The Magicians.
Like The Magicians, like is a really good. Like they've gotten all the seasons up on Netflix, but
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go back and finish it.
Finish those, yeah.
Yeah. Now are
I'm
they
also waiting for The Walking Dead,
okay?
the season 10 to drop.
Where speaking of which, before I get into this last question, because that's actually going to go into part of today's topic, smash, pass, or trash as far as any movies that we've seen. Go ahead, Law. Go ahead and start with the movie that you just saw.
All right, so it is a movie called Skin,
Okay.
and it is based. I'm gonna pull it up so that I can give the correct descriptions and everything. 1 second.
Take your time.
Okay. Well, it's not even pulling up what I'm looking for, but it's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
The setting is the 70s in Africa, South Africa to be correct. I think Cape Town is the area. It's basically on a young woman who was born to white parents, but she has the skin of her African counterparts. She goes to school with white skinned Africans, and all of these things played into the plot and the development of her character. It got to a point where she had to go and get a DNA test to make sure that she was quote unquote white.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the apartheid movement. But smash, pass, or trash, I definitely say it was a smash, because for the fact that it really conceptualized what it was for the beginning of the slavery movement, and what it was for, the colonizers to come in and uproot us from our home and then take us to a foreign land and start over. It just so happened that this was portrayed so that you saw what it was like for people who are darker skinned to have to go and be around and interact and live amongst the fairer skinned counterparts. But I definitely say it's a good watch.
Word. For me, I sat through Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, definitely a lot darker tone than the original Whedon cut. Definitely some more backstory for Cyborg, which I really, really was proud of. I'm like, man, I'm glad that we're actually focusing on Victor, because he's essentially a focal point and a very important part to this story. And I'm glad that Zach was able to bring that out. There are a few things that are still kind of to me. Like, it seems like some of the scenes don't really transition all that well still. But that's a Zack Snyder movie. At this point, I'm kind of like,
that's
okay.
DC movie.
Yeah, that's a DC movie in general, but especially with Zack Snyder, I'm like, okay, there's still some choppy parts. The dialogue, while a little better, and at least the team got a chance to interact more with each other than they did in the previous cut, still some script that was just like, okay, yeah, this doesn't seem real. It seems superficial. It doesn't really seem like a genuine conversation in some parts. Mm-hmm. I will say I'm glad that the Steppenwolf was still the main villain that they were fighting. However, Steppenwolf was not the biggest threat. They finally got a chance to say Darkseid is the threat. We're trying to stop him from coming, and that is something that I appreciate, because Darkseid is one of my favorite DC villains, and I'm glad that they were able to show the imminent threat that was Darkseid. Not to spoil anything, but yeah.
I mean, if you read the comic books.
Yeah, well, of course.
No spoiler, you know what I'm saying?
That's
right.
That's real.
True
That's
to
real.
heart.
The Flash is still not funny. I have no problems with Gal Gadot, but I still think that her as Wonder Woman, granted, in the first Wonder Woman she was okay, but it just seems like her acting is still kind of like, But yeah, you know, for what it's worth, the movie gets a pass on the rating of Smash, Trash, or Pass. Like, it's passable. if I had to give it a score, 7 out of 10. I might have said 7.5 on my Facebook page, but honestly, it's a 7 now that I've got a chance to like look back and see the differences and, you know, was able to process the story and whatnot. It's definitely watchable, and if you haven't seen it for the first time, I mean, I would definitely watch it if you can sit through 4 hours of a movie.
Movie's 4 hours.
Yeah,
long.
the movie is 4 hours long. Like, if you can get through it, more power to you.
I barely made it through Endgame.
Yeah, Endgame was 3.
That was 3.
Yeah, this
you
one
talking
was
about a 4-hour movie. All right, you better have me a meal, some drink.
I'm serious, bro. Like, because all the start and stopping that I had to do when watching it, it took me almost. Matter of fact, it took me way past midnight because I think I started watching it at like 8 or 9 o'clock. By the time I got finished with it, it was almost 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I don't know.
Sounds about
The
right.
only movie that I've watched that long was King Kong, and that I was expecting it to be a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, that's expected. But it's not a bad movie. If you haven't checked it out, I definitely would. It might be worth it. You know, it's worth giving a shot. You know, especially if you're a DC fan. The main thing I was hype about that was we got Black Suit Kal-El, we got Black Suit Superman, and that is what I wanted in the first one. And I was so mad that Josh Whedon did not include that in his first cut. But thank you, Zack Snyder, for adding that back. I appreciate that. With that, before we get into today's topic, we are going to take a short break here. Don't move, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back. Yo, it's Ked the Pro. So before you continue on with the show, we got to give a shout out and a plug to another Hamptonian who owns her own business, and you've heard me shout her out on multiple episodes before. The Bougie Bartender is a black-owned business created by Kiera Calhoun in May of 2020, not long after the COVID-19 outbreak and shutdown. Bougie Bartender was first created as a means of bringing a taste of the bar and nightclub scene home with fun and unique alcoholic beverages guaranteed to make any quarantine event a lit one. The brand has since expanded into a party decor and party planning service, along with the addition of its newest service, Diva Bottles, which is decorated liquor bottles. To place an order or for booking, individuals may follow the Instagram page at Bougie Bartender, that's BOUGEE.bartender, and send a DM or direct text message from the page. And we're back. Had to take a little break here, but we are going to continue the conversations that we're having. Before we get into, again, the meat and potatoes of what we want to talk about, we're first going to just bring up some of our segments here. Lawrence, you got anything for Good Job, Lawrence?
Good job, Lawrence.
Hey.
This week's segment is going to be on non-fungible tokens.
Okay.
So, I know you're probably like, what the fuck is a non-fungible token? A non-fungible token are pieces of digital content linked to a blockchain, which is fancy words for a broker.
Mm-hmm.
The digital database underpinning cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. Unlike NFTs, those assets are fungible, meaning that you can trade Bitcoin for Ethereum, Ethereum for Litecoin, Litecoin for Bitcoin, and so on and so forth. But with a non-fungible token or NFT, you are basically taking a entity converting it to a Ethereum based platform, basically turning it into Ethereum, but you can't sell it unless you are bidding it or putting it on a bidding platform. And basically, like I said, you can interchange Bitcoin and Ethereum for other things, but when you go into the NFT realm, it's really for people who are into music, the arts, or just creating a platform for yourself. NFTs are probably the newest platforms within the, I'll say, last 10 to 15 years. You really have to do your research so that you understand everything that is included into non-fungible tokens. But that's my little spotlight for this week. If you are an artist, you are a cryptocurrency guru, or trying to get to this sort, I greatly encourage that you look into these things, because they are going to be something that is, as you can see, ever changing within the world of currency. And hey,
All right. Well, good job, Lawrence. We appreciate that tidbit of information there. So up next, of course, we are going to have Nasa in her segment, Nasa's Corner. Please tell us what has been inspiring you as of late, ma'am.
Welcome to Nasa's Corner. So as of lately, I've been really getting into, more hip hop artists. Not to say that I haven't, because I'm just really an R&B head. So that's the majority of what I listen to. But one of the songs that I've been just listening to lately is Mick Jenkins.
Yes.
Come on, drink more water.
Carefree is one of my favorite songs by him. And then also I've listened to the entire D Smoke Black Habits album. So I suggest y'all go check that out, because I low-key kind of feel like he was snubbed, but by the Grammys, but that was actually an excellent project, listening to D Smoke. I think one of my favorite songs that I have on repeat, of course, is Lights On, because it's with his brother, which I didn't know that Sir was his brother.
Yes, indeed, he is.
That's crazy, because I'm a big fan of Top Dog Entertainment, so that's
indeed.
really dope. So listening to Lights On, and then there's this one song called No Commas. That's dope as hell. So definitely go check that out. Check out the entire album, and then of course go check out Mick Jenkins, because I do think that he put out a new project.
I can fact check that real quick.
Let's fact check that, because I don't want to. Let's fact check that.
I will always support Mick Jenkins.
His last album was The Circus.
Yes,
Yeah.
The Circus. That's the song that Carefree is on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Carefree is my favorite. So definitely
But
go check that
piggyback
out.
off of that, not to overtake a second.
No, absolutely.
But Pieces of a Man and The Healing Component are all great albums to listen to, especially The Healing Component. A lot of things that have been going on within America, dealing with the pandemic and stimulus and everything, we don't focus on healing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that dropped in 2016, but that album right there really
It's so relatable.
speaks
now.
to healing.
Yes.
So yeah.
Man,
But
look.
The Waters.
Oh, classic. The Waters is classic.
Drink more water.
Drink more water, absolutely. But yes, definitely go check out Mick Jenkins. That his new album, The Circus, extremely good. And then of course go check out D Smoke, because he's cold. He's cold. For real.
Ever since he won Rhythm and Flow, D Smoke has been on he's top tier, man.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
to both of them, both of their music is I really vibe with both of their music, and I got both artists on my playlist. Mick Jenkins actually dropped a single that I have to yet to check out. It's called Break Me Down. Hopefully, when I listen to it, it'll be dope. But yeah, okay. I definitely appreciate that inspiration there. If you have not checked out Mick Jenkins before, I highly suggest that you do. And if you have not checked out D Smoke, once again, we highly suggest that you do.
It's just been like with those two artists. It's just been a nice. It's just been a real like smooth vibe. Because honestly, I feel like because I'm as you know, I'm kind of doing this like whole self-care hiatus.
Come on.
Like, hiatus, and I'm really understanding that I'm actually very high-strung. So things that try to mellow me out and kind of like smooth me out kind of gets me far. So, and I kind of think it feels like their music kind of like is trying to find a balance pretty much. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially to those of you who partake in cannabis activities. If you listen to those albums, you'll see what we're talking about. I don't smoke. I just have to throw that out there. But for those who do, it is decriminalized in Virginia and will officially become legal for recreational use once July rolls around. But for those of you who do, just know that those albums will definitely put you in a vibe. I can tell. So. To the moon. Okay. All right, y'all. So once again, Nelson, thanks for that segment. And of course, Lawrence, thanks you for your segment. I have a question that we got for the pod that actually goes into our next segment because I wanted to talk a little bit about this. And
From the people.
Yeah. So the question that I got asked, thoughts on the rising violence against Asian Americans. So, Lawrence raised his hand. I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge him first.
Where was this care 400 years ago? 400 plus years ago? Where was the care when Rodney King was getting his ass beat on television? Where was the care when they turned the hoses and the dogs on our ancestors? Where was the care when it was people that didn't look like the people who are being terrorized now? I'm not taking any light or any sentiment or any sympathy or empathy away from our fellow ethnicities, but this shit ain't new. This shit has been happening for years. And it's all races. It's not just Asians, Islams, or the Islamic. Y'all get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm flustered right now
Yeah.
because people pick and choose when to give light to certain situations, but at the end of the day, people didn't say shit when it came down to the Native Americans being taken from their land. We got brought here and didn't ask to be brought here. I'm sorry. I'm it's a flustering aspect. When will it stop? It'll stop when we realize, again, like I said earlier, that there should be equality for everybody and that no one race is higher than the other. When we all realize that we are equal as one people within this here United States, that's when the change and the stop to said violence will come.
Honestly, I feel like because like with the whole stop the anti-Asian discrimination, what I've noticed, it's not just, it seems like there's a discrimination between every race except the white race. There's a discrimination. Blacks are a threat. Mexicans are illegal. Asians brought the corona. Native Americans are savages. Like, it's it's everything negative with another race other than, God damn it, whites. Like, other than whites. And we're talking about, like, it's, again, like, of course, like how, Law, he stated, this is nothing new. Mm-hmm. This is nothing new. And what we need to stop putting, of course, we need to stop redirecting it to
the forefront.
The forefront. We need to direct it to the actual source of all of this. Who created this? who created the madness, who created the manipulation, the dysfunction.
white man.
Let's go back to the source. The Asian community is probably leaning on the black community when we've already done our part. We're desensitized to this shit now, so it's like, I don't know what you want us to do.
Because how many hair stores have you seen within a block?
Within a block, like you're within a block.
Like how many stores do you get profiled in when you walk in them?
Very true.
Right. So let's stop. Don't lean on us. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't lean on us, but stop leaning on us because we've done our part. And at this point, we tired of helping everybody. So I'm gonna ask y'all to go to the source.
So my take, the sentiments in the room is pretty much mutual. For me, it's for, trust me, I want to be sure that we, that Asian hate needs to stop. Like, I definitely agree with the hashtag Stop Asian Hate. What I want to be clear about is that there were certain people in the media who wanted African Americans specifically to get on board with this particular movement as if we were responsible for anything that happened to them, or as if they want us to be responsible for uplifting our brothers in the Asian communities. And that's what I have a problem with. It's like, okay, look, this, as everyone has said, this is nothing new for us. We've been through hell and back and still in the middle of hell if you are black and American in this country. So we are still trying to process our own trauma. Why do you have to dump another culture's trauma onto us as well?
I'm tired of being a scapegoat for shit that we didn't ask for.
Exactly. So with this in mind, of course, I'm going to assist in, making sure that the community is uplifted. I definitely want to be sure that we can get to a society where, we can all share our cultures without having to be so prejudiced against one another. That being said, it's a whole nother thing now for us to, or for y'all to solely depend on us to take you where you need to go. No, just like we had to find our way, I hope that you can find your own way, so that way we can, figure out what the problem is. Like, don't, as Nasa said, like, it's not that you can't depend on us, but don't let us be we're not your crutch. That's the one thing that I wanted to just get out the way. Like, yo, we are not anybody's crutch.
Y'all use us as a scapegoat.
Yeah.
It's actually really tiring because
Very
it's just
much so.
like we're going through our own shit, but yeah, you lean on us as if we're
like we got all the answers.
like we got all the answers, but we trying to just survive at the end of the day. At this time, at this point in
I
time,
can go for hours on this topic.
I know, man. I know. But just so that we're clear, of course we are with those who have lost their lives, and we definitely will pray for the families, and we will definitely assist in any way that we can. The only thing that I just want the media to do is just, as you said, stop using us as a scapegoat. Stop using us as a crutch. That being said, to my black family, please, please, please don't ramp up the Asian hate because of this. The last thing we need is more black trauma. Like,
Stop perpetuating ignorance.
Exactly.
Because that's really what it boils down to. By the media portraying, and it really boiled down to the last presidency term, of why it became what it was. That was the start of it. And since then, it's had nothing but time to fester and grow upon everything that's happened. We are all tired of having to stay within a quarantine state. We want outside to open back up. We want, there to be a solution to the pandemic. And the solution could have came had the administration that was set in place were allowed to do their job. And it all boils back down to the fact that we had a dumbass in office.
Well,
but again,
hey man,
it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, indeed.
I support the Asian community. I send my sympathy, my empathy, my condolences to the families affected. But at the end of the day, we cannot continue to perpetuate this sense of, oh, well, this community is affected now, give them support. This community is affected, give them. Again, it boils back to the fact that when we realize that no one race is superior than the other, and that we all live amongst these borders as one people, that's when things will get better.
Indeed. So again, stop perpetuating ignorance. Stop being ignorant towards your fellow man. You know, this is a time of, we're still trying to heal from the last administration, obviously, for multiple reasons across the board. So let's do what we can to be sure that we heal properly and correctly and support each other the best way that we know how, without, you know, it coming to us having to be ignorant towards one another. That's ultimately what it boils down to. But as you said, my sympathies and my empathy to the families who were affected by that shooting in Georgia. Y'all have my love. Y'all have my support. Just, again, you know, we have to, we can't just be used as a crutch. That's the only thing. Like, and it comes down to, you know, for those who have been hateful towards, you know, Asian Americans, I'm just going to say, don't let past black trauma be the main reason why you are ugly towards another person. Like, because all it's going to do is continuously traumatize somebody else, and the cycle will continue. And we have to find a way to break that curse. Like, I'm not saying that black people pass their trauma along to Asians, but the fact that your trauma could have such a negative effect on you, now you're being negative to somebody because of that trauma, and in the event they get traumatized, and then so on and so forth. And we're not about that life. So we try to, you know, keep it kosher here. So that's all I'm going to say in regards to that, though. All right.
Let's get ratchet.
Yes. So, before I actually talk about this situation, I just remembered that we need to address something, because this has been going on for a couple of days. Anybody hip to the situation with Derek Jackson?
Look, let me tell you something. Look, let me tell you something.
What's the YouTube guy that he gives quote unquote advice?
That's Derek Jackson. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It's another guy.
Oh, it's another guy?
I think it's like Stephen Samuels or something like that. He got a lot of flack because he went on live, and a gentleman, I guess, was asking for advice, and he was basically shaming the dude on live, and he was just like asking the dude questions, was just like, bro, how much you weigh?
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah.
Had me
It's still
here.
on the same
Now, don't get
lines.
me wrong. I love me a good read, and he did just that. He was like, "Sir, what are they
Kevin
gonna
Samuels.
Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
All right, so first things first, he was not wrong in what he was saying. I think the issue was the delivery. He basically asked Buddy. He was just like, because it's funny that I think back to it. He was like, how tall are you? He answered. He was just like, okay. How much you weigh? He told him how much you weigh. He was like, all right, cool. He was like, how much you make in a year? He was like, he told him that. And he was just like, is your dick big? And the dude was just like, what?
He said, don't play that bullshit. Do you know is your dick big or not?
He was like, you know if your dick big or not. And the dude was just like kind of flabbergasted. He was like, why are you asking me this? He was like, I'm saying all of this to say that at the end of the day, don't no woman want no broke, small dick, short, fat, like just like shaming the dude, but like telling him about himself, because it's like at the end of the day, you came to me for advice, so I'm gonna give you the advice that's being asked for. But to the degree I said that, because it's along the same lines. you have this guy who's perpetuating all of these things that are believed to be correct when it comes to a relationship, but a lot of the times people don't realize that no one relationship or interaction with people is going to be the same.
Right.
Right, but there is no. Why is there is no discussion when it comes down to the breaking of trust? There is no discussion in regard to that. You broke my trust. If you were really sorry, you would have never done it in the fucking first place.
Yeah.
So if he's, if he's telling women that, you need to do this, and, telling men, I mean, granted, I saw the video, so on his end, some of the things that he was saying, I could agree with. Like, I can acknowledge what he was saying, because accountability and, accountability is a major thing.
Where I will say there was a fallout was when he tried to say that when he found God, that was when he lost his way. That was my no. First off, I'm not saying that God will make or break a relationship, but if you are equally yoked and you understand what the word says about being equally yoked, that's how you know how to move forward with that. Don't blasphemize the good word.
Okay,
don't blasphemize the good word, because you are trying to find
You're trying to have
excuse
God as your escape,
as opposed
scapegoat
to your mess up. And that's, I feel like, really what he did. And like seeing the memes of him sitting there with his wife, and they sitting there hand in hand, he's just like. And I think the meme was just like she said her blind, and then he the meme was like, just as we said, along with the script. But
you can just even in the video, you can tell that her heart is not in it. You can just tell, like, you can, as a woman myself, I can just see that she's just
Sis got a lot of
she's
stuff
just going through
on.
the motions. She's at this point, she's just going through emotions. It hasn't been the first time, and hasn't been the second time. Damn, this has been multiple times. So at this point, I'm not really saying I don't have empathy for her, but I don't have too much sympathy for her, because it's just like, he vowed to you. Not only did he vow to you, he vowed under the guidelines of that Bible and under God, and that was the union that was the promise and the union that he was supposed to keep. And so there is no discussion when you broke my trust with you. I can't look at you the same, because while I'm kissing you, I'm thinking that, damn, his lips has been on another bitch. Like, I can't look at you the same.
The way she said that, though. I understand, though. I get what you're saying. I'm not laughing at you, just laughing at the way you said that.
I can't look at you the same. Like, the person who was supposed to be mine, the person who was supposed to love me and who vowed to me, can't even keep that honor and that promise because of what? You just chose to do it. Like,
sin is sin.
Like, you just chose to do it. Ain't nobody make you do it. So then why continue to do it? Like,
yeah. Honestly, if I'm gonna be really frank, I've never really liked Derek Jackson like that to start. Like, I've seen some of his videos, and it's like a lot of times when giving out that relationship advice, he would consistently throw men under the bus. And I mean, like, we not talking, holding us accountable. I mean, like, throwing deep under the bus. And I'm just like, bro, you gotta chill with that. But
I mean, it was easy for him to do it, right?
Yeah, well,
it was for him to do it, because look who was doing dirt. He was doing dirty. Okay.
Calling the kettle what?
Keep hearing footsteps, baby.
The only thing that I didn't like with her response, what I didn't like her response is just again, it's almost like you're justifying. It almost felt like she was kind of justifying his actions, almost just a little bit. Like,
justifying / pacifying.
Like, pacifying. It almost
also
like
not taking into accountability her own feelings. Like, sis,
the only
at the end of the day, if you wanted to leave or was unhappy, say that. Don't sit here and go on Instagram and make a post talking about how you conceptualize every woman that he had been with, and to a degree, there's some insecurities in there. To a degree, just a little bit.
Very much to a degree. Because there was one point there's definitely one point where she just said that I needed to be present. So basically, it almost seemed like she was saying, like, I just needed to be seen, not heard. Like, my presence as your wife is to be seen, not heard in any type of shape or form. but that's neither here nor there. Like, I don't know. I just think that, like,
I feel like
her
more
willingness
details
to
to the
just
story need to come out as well.
yeah, details of the story need to come out because
just
damn.
what was like said upon social media didn't really give the full brunt of the whole situation.
And of
Like,
course
I
it's
feel
not
like
gonna
it
give
was
the full
more
brunt.
so of a saving face type situation. Him sitting up there with his wife, like. If you gonna be a marriage counselor or give marriage advice, keep it a bean. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not everybody is perfect. Not everything is going to be cut and paste to what marriage is supposed to be.
Hey, man. So I have to ask this. Would you consider this kind of situation
Toxic or what?
chaotic? Or both?
Both.
Okay.
That's just toxic because you're allowing it, you're entertaining it, you're just.
It's toxic for the fact that you're constantly letting the same situation be recreated and not addressing it. And it's also chaotic because at the end of the day, you're causing chaos and turmoil within your own self. And that's only going to breed more chaos.
Indeed. My final question on this portion, do you think that he decided maybe to have her as his spouse because he knew that he could easily prey on her because of her insecurities and because of the turmoil that she was dealing
I'm
with?
not even gonna hold you. Men do that in general. Like, I don't know what it is with y'all. Like, men like to prey on praise. I'm not saying this is all men, and maybe this is not even a conscious thing that y'all are even doing. Like, but
Wasn't taken as that though. Like, I just think
y'all kind of prey on women's insecurities sometimes because I don't know if it's a codependency, if y'all want women to be
But it's
dependent on
perpetuated off the first meeting as well. You know what I'm saying? If you try to paint yourself as being bright and energetic 24/7, and then you get in a relationship and you realize that it's not 24/7, it's only like 2 and 22 hours later. I'm only happy for 2 hours and then the other 22 hours is shit. Like, let's not normalize the fact that we should be 100% transparent when it comes to choosing and picking our partners, and also not being bound upon the restraints of what it means to form a relationship. Because you get people who they get in a relationship and in 6 months that's their life lock and boom, they're good for life. And then you have situations where, you know, it takes 25 years for you to stop your bullshit and you come together and are happy. And in both situations, it's the time frame of those two people and where they are at in their matriculation through life. Nothing is going to be easy, and no road is clear of bumps.
Word. So, I think the discussion needs to be had, obviously, in regards to those who find themselves in these kinds of situations, and not just Derek Jackson and his spouse, but just anybody who's in marriage and they see that, you know, they have let their, I'm not even going to say let their weaknesses, but you can just see that there is an instance where there was not a sense of them being equally yoked in the beginning. And that's something that we just have to be sure that when the day comes for all three of us, you know, whether we get married or not, but if we decide to get married or become part of a long-term relationship, that we're not preying on each other's insecurities and that we are, you know, bound together as one and at equally yoked under the word. So as we wrap this up, we have to address Cardi B.
Y'all better leave her alone. Leave her alone. Like, honestly, okay, like, if we're going to discuss this performance, this little WAP performance, look, I noticed that when I thought it was a good performance. Like,
I had no problems with it.
I had no fucking, like, it was actually
Why
a solid
extended
performance.
invitation? If y'all know
God damn it, y'all know.
if y'all know the
the
songs that
song.
she has under her platform, and you know her history, not saying that you should pass judgment because of that, because I mean it's been plenty of people who are in high positions that got shitty and dirty past. You know what I'm saying? If y'all know what her platform is and you know what her music content is, don't pass judgment on the woman for going to the Grammys and putting out a performance that I feel like was probably top 10, one of her best performances.
I thought that was one of her best performances because it honestly was better than the other performances that was going on.
Yes.
Same
Like
thing
it was
for
Megan. Like Megan's performance and Cardi B's was probably the best performances on the show. So don't extend. Yeah, my thing is that the Grammys, first and foremost, the Grammys knew knew the song. Because I'm pretty sure they have to list what is going to be performed. So
Yeah.
they knew what song it was. They knew the lyrics. They knew it was explicit. So of course it's going to be some type of censorship, which she did in her lyrics. So I'm confused. And then like once that performance came out, I noticed that a lot of the comments were from white women talking from white women talking about that's just disgusting and degradable. And there was one YouTube star who started crying after looking at the shit, talking about, oh, it's hard trying to look, what can I show my kids now? They got cartoons. Okay, They don't need to look at the Grammys.
No bullshit. A lot of these cartoons are not any better than
Grammys
performance.
Not even better. And like my thing is that they're going so in on Cardi B for pretty much a non-explicit performance. So what would you rather your kids do? Watch the Grammys or watch porn? Because either way, they're going to go somewhere. Okay, like they gonna find a way to get to that shit. So you can't really censor that too much. Like you can, kind of guide protect your child's innocence as much as you can. But at the end of the day, at a certain point, when they get to adult, they're gonna experience adult shit just like we are.
Because think about how many kids have went to their parents because they heard WAP on the radio and asked, "Hey mom, what's wet and gushy?"
How many times they probably heard y'all fucking.
I think that is the radio edit.
That's the radio edit, wet and gushy. My take. Granted, okay, you can have the opinion about Cardi B's song or Cardi B in general, or even Megan Thee Stallion. You can have their opinion or whatnot. If you want to be sure that your kids don't see this kind of content, don't watch.
You have the opportunity to put parental blocks on your TV.
Exactly.
Social media, all that.
Like when we
there
were
are
younger,
parental blocks for that reason.
The parental advisory disclosure advisory, like that was. They put that on there.
Yeah. On top of that, the performance was late at night. This wasn't the first set performance of the Grammys. This was past 10 o'clock. Why the hell are your kids up past 10 o'clock to start?
Okay, their bedtime was 8 o'clock. Their bedtime was either 8 or 9 o'clock. They shouldn't have been up in the first place.
I'm saying, like,
it's
and even
virtual, so I mean,
even then,
like I remember when I was younger and like the Janet Jackson tour came out, and I think it was like one scene where she was doing "Would You Mind?" My dad said, "Take your ass to
I'll go even further.
You
remember the Super Bowl with Janet and Justin Timberlake?
Yes.
By the time the halftime performance came on, I was being told to go to bed. I was into sports, but it was, you got school in the morning. Good night.
And the thing is that they're going so hard on Megan and Cardi B for doing what they did, but yet Britney Spears and Madonna had a whole, makeout session on live TV and on stage. Yet they called that iconic. And then when Justin Timberlake literally ripped off Janet's costume, y'all called her a whole slut. I'm just like, y'all gotta pick and choose, goddammit, because this is too much.
I'm still traumatized by that, man. They did Janet so dirty.
They did Janet dirty. She was like, oh my God, she's a slut. But yet, Britney and over here, Madonna's over here lip locking, and it's iconic. Please, miss me.
Well, either way, as we said before, like, we understand that, there are some content that you don't want your children to hear, so you have the choice not to let them hear it. Even Cardi said herself, like, if you know that this is not something that you know that you want to hear or that you don't want your kids listening to it, then don't listen to it. Like none of this stuff is influencing your kids. Like you can easily be like, oh, go to bed or change the channel or.
She literally does this with her own child. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
she makes music for adults, but when she's around culture, she's like, I'm not having that. Like,
Exactly.
The last thing she wants is coach. Oh, so what?
yeah,
No. Like no.
like that's out.
Exactly. And I don't know what it is about these conservative white women who like they want to talk about that. Like
To be
listen
honest,
here.
it's the fact that their husbands don't give them the same fetishized fantasies that they give black women, and that's being loose with
Hey,
where
look.
I was going with that
Hey,
statement.
that sounds like pain on their end.
That's pain on their end.
And
Let me
I'm
stop,
all
'cause I
for
can go
white
in. I
women
can go.
pain. Like if you're a conservative white woman and you have a problem with this and you're being affected by this and it hurts you, too bad. I mean, whatever.
But then it's just another. Also, it's just another way to humble a black woman. Stop trying to humble us because you can't do it. Like,
But
if
I
you're,
mean, it goes deeper back to the times of then. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You had Master, who had a wife, and then some had children.
Had
But
children.
something about that melanin that had them calling in the wee hours of the night. And then you turn around and you got you a black children, and then, well, where did little Nicklet come from? Oh, well, I wonder why. Because Master was dipping in the
dabbling in
chocolate pot.
chocolate, okay? The chocolate pot. That no wonder Master's wife was pissed. No wonder she was.
And so then when it came time, oh, now I got to raise little Nicklet. That's why you never read like Little Johnny. But 9 times out of 10, it got the... Hello, my name is...
My name is John Brown.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And they hate that because at the end of the day, like I said, whatever it was that was found within the melanin cannot be found within themselves. So then they perpetuate those feelings and emotions onto us to break us down. But at the end of the day, we still build ourselves up because ain't no point in wallowing in that bullshit because it ain't gonna make nothing better. So we rise past that, and they hate that. And the more that we continue to rise above the hate, they're gonna try to find ways to knock us back down.
I will always support black women and what they decide to do, you know. And if I have a problem with the censorship, then if I have kids, they're just not gonna watch. They're just not gonna listen until they get old enough to understand. And at that point, it's whatever. You know, at 12 years old, there were certain things that I could listen to and could not listen to because my mom made sure to have a lock on that.
There were certain things at 12 years old. At 12 years old, you just start getting curious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you start
Yeah.
getting curious. That's like mid-age, like, you know, that's mid-age puberty. Like, we hitting teens,
Bruh,
you know,
I
we
mean,
start
yeah.
getting teens, you know, so we start getting curious about shit.
As our old heads would call it, hiding that ass.
Hiding that ass, you fast ass, little fast ass, like.
But obviously, you know, these people have issues, but they got to figure it out themselves.
Stop
because
perpetuating that shit onto us.
Exactly. But
Talk to your man.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's your wife doing it, talk to your wife.
Mm-hmm. But I think we've come to a good stopping point here. We've had a very good discussion, just about a little bit about everything.
Oh, real quick, Sweetie and Quavo.
Oh yeah.
Sweetie. You know, I've been looking at the tweets, and they were really trifling on that. They're really trifling on Twitter.
They
like,
really dragging it, though.
They're really dragging it.
She was talking about cheating, all Quavo heard was take the Bentley back. Or whatever they call it.
She said, "Take care." All he heard was
Take car.
take car. Like, y'all are really trifling for that. But like, if he really repossessed that Bentley, then that means that
The money, the
that
fame,
Bentley,
and the clout is dangerous.
that means that gift was only conditional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was only conditional, and that it wasn't. It was a temporary. It was temporary.
It wasn't a long.
It wasn't long term.
situation.
And so, like, and then honestly, Young Boy, he commented on it, talking about hoes ain't shit. Nigga, you don't need
Bro,
to
he's
speak.
in jail right now.
I was
He
gonna
needs
say,
to worry about fighting that federal case and making sure that he can be there for his own
Just
children.
say, boy got chased by canines, so goodness
I don't
gracious.
want to, Young Boy, shut that shit up, cause
Yeah. Y'all
you got
already know
kids to
my
raise.
opinion.
You
Yeah.
got kids to raise.
You already know my opinion on Young Boy after that whole y'all Mayweather episode,
Yeah.
but
And you know they still dragging that out too?
mm,
Because I guess it was somebody's birthday. And they was in the club. And Back in Blood came on. And Jania, hey, get that Back in Blood. And then Yaya just over there on the phone in the middle of the club. And everybody's dragging it like, girl, who you calling? In the middle of this loud ass club. But yeah, like social media, clout chasing is detrimental to anything that is supposed to be of substance. If you are going to be in a relationship, a private life is a happy life.
I mean, and there's several celebrities who, of course, have gone through the. I don't get it, because Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. Who else?
But it wasn't until Beyonce let it out that it was actually
Aired his shit.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
Aired
until
his shit.
she brought the public into their realm that it was actually talked about. But had it not been talked about, it would have been just
It would-
something
saying
over the
nobody
hill.
would've never known.
Something never known, which is really dope.
And then the
for
way she
them.
went about it was still classy. You know what I'm saying? Becky
Yep.
with the good hair. You know what I'm saying? Honestly,
And me-
as a man, like Lemonade was okay, but that's just me. Sorry, Beehive, don't look. I don't want no smoke. But
No parts.
Like, it was just one of those things where, like, for her to heal and to move past it, she used that moment of time as her vice to make music, and I get that from the artist aspect. But like I said, like when it really boils down to it, if you want your relationship or marriage or whatever you call intimate to be correct, you just have to do it with you and whoever you're doing it with. Not everybody got to know the ins and outs of where you at.
indeed. Well, I certainly hope that.
I still think that
you know-
I still think that Quavo's move was real childish.
Oh, I mean, it definitely was. I'm just saying. I certainly hope that
I think his move was real childish.
Saweetie
Like, he
will
could
be
have just took it
successful.
with a grain of salt and be like, "Hey, keep the bent." Like, "Hey, I gift it to you." But
Well,
no, that was some petty shit.
Hey, that was the shit
Yeah,
off of
the keys.
what's that movie? Give me my chain back, Rashad.
ATL, exactly. Cause it's mine. He's like,
Yeah, get that shit.
y'all that shit. He's like,
Why you
give me
take
my
that?
chain back. No, he said
man.
it's mine now. It's mine.
y'all don't. If you give a gift to somebody, regardless of what y'all go through, just let them have the gift, man. It's not
Let
that
it be
important. Let it be.
meaningful.
Like, yeah,
Like, don't do it with conditions. Like,
exactly.
And
like,
if it was something
it was never. It was
that
never.
you
a
really
gift.
needed back, you ain't need to buy it in the first place.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Whole time, like it never was a gift, because it's like if you're gifting something, it's a gift and it's something meant for them.
Yeah.
Gifts are not conditional, so and shit. Have you ever gotten a gift and had somebody ask for it back?
That's
Yeah.
like you going and having a prime example. Your 13th birthday party. Everybody bring you gifts, and then at the end, after you done opened everything up, they be like, "All right, we going home and take that shit."
Go home and take the shit out. Like,
Hey,
wait a minute.
happy birthday! Here's your gift. Terms and conditions may apply.
Terms and conditions may apply. I don't get it. Terms and conditions do apply. Okay, so next time Quavo decides he wants to date somebody, he needs to put that in disclaimers of the relationship. Gifts or conditions only.
Bro, we are terming shit now. Just like Kanye was like, we want prenup. I hope he signed the
I hope he
prenup.
signed it. Okay?
Or I hope he made her sign the prenup. Because if that shit goes through, she getting half of whatever. Yeah, he's supposed to be like, what, $6.6 billion? That means she about to be paid. If
I was gonna say Kim already paid, bro.
She's already
so,
paid.
Yeah, she.
But as soon as the being married to Kanye, oh, she.
Oh yeah. Well,
And he's at it was like estimated 6.6 billion.
well, that's his net worth. I don't think that he would have actually that amount in his pocket, but still, yeah. He's
I mean,
worth
that's
it.
still some M's.
Yeah,
Regardless.
you're right. That's still some M. So, regardless, I do hope
You
that
gonna give. You better let them know whether or not you gonna take this.
take it back or not. And I hope Sweetie and she comes out of this, and hopefully she drops her album soon, because that's honestly what I'm trying to see what the hype is about. Because honestly, I think Sweetie's kind of dope, but granted, some of her songs are not.
She's really dope, and she's gorgeous as hell. So I'm just like, wait,
Yeah.
what going on?
And
I
I mean-
feel like they go through these different situations for Vices to make music.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility.
Impossibility.
Some people make music just for the sole purpose of just making music, and then some people actually do it based on how they feel and what they're going through. It really just depends on what the artist is, what their intentions are.
Yeah.
But it's really just funny because everybody was saying like, yo, the Migos. I was seeing so many nicknames like the Cheetos, and everyone's saying that all three of them. Now, mind you,
Takeoff. I
about to say,
ain't
you ain't
hear
heard
nothing
nothing
about
from Takeoff.
well,
about Takeoff.
the one thing that we did hear is that he was dodging some sexual assault cases last year, but that's yeah.
Y'all, we have got to get it together.
I'm saying.
Y'all, we have got to get it together.
I'm saying.
Like,
I'm
this
hoping it's not true. I'm hoping that it's a false accusation for Takeoff, because pretty much he's like the only Migo that I know that pretty much minds his business. Like he don't put none of his shit out there.
I do appreciate Takeoff because he be in his own zone. Like,
Yeah.
You don't hear from him too much.
Exactly,
But it was actually kind of funny because like Quavo's sister had something that had mentioned it and talked about Sweetie, but then Sweetie's auntie came with the receipts and talking about, she was like, "So you talking about you had enough?" You talking about you had enough? It's barely been 24 hours. Like, chill out.
right.
You've been trying to hold it.
We could
You've been
keep
trying to
going,
hold
but, like,
back. It's been
That's what I was
24
getting ready
hours.
to say. Like, if you were so hurt by the situation, your first destination and stop is not going to be social media.
It's not.
You were going to go and duck off and ghost from the world and find your healing. And then once you found your healing and moved past that shit, you're back. Like that shit never happened. But that's just my 2 cents.
Agreed. This is why I don't post my shit on social media as far as like what I'm feeling, except for like the times where I be like in my head about my job and about my next moves and whatnot. Yeah, I can, after I've taken a deep breath, I'll talk about it on social media. As far as like my relationship status, y'all ain't gonna know shit. But I'm just being real, especially if I become a celebrity. Y'all ain't gonna see me. Like, all right, I'm like Shanasa was saying, I'm gonna be Takeoff. Like, you ain't gonna hear about nothing. I'm gonna drop this album. I'm gonna drop these songs, and that's it. That's all you're gonna get from me. But anyway, let's it's a good time to go ahead and wrap this up. So before we wrap up, just gotta ask: are there any black businesses or black podcasts that you all want to shout out before we sign off? I will start first and foremost. Fresh Nerds, Righteous Minds. I just copped that floral crew neck that Timo just made.
Yep.
And that joint is dope. I know it's pretty much it's springtime now, so obviously I'm not gonna be wearing it like that. But when next season comes around, that shit is going to be worn. Shoot, it's even still a little cold up here, so I might wear it a couple times if the weather permits. So definitely check out Fresh Nerds, Righteous Minds, or FNRM. You can check them out on Instagram. Hit Timo up if you like his designs. Definitely hit him up. And you got to pay for these services, obviously, because it's clothing. But definitely check out his clothing brand.
Shout out Quarter. He's definitely going crazy with his music.
Yep.
He's going in a right direction, and I support him. So yeah.
Man, yeah, definitely big shout out to Quarter, because he has once again provided us with another transition beat, which if you heard the episode from last week with Panda, you would have heard that transition between the segments that we had. So definitely shout out to him, man. I'll continue to support Quarter, like even if I have to. Well, I do pay for his music, but definitely continue to pay these artists, but especially him, because he's been going crazy right now, and his work is quality. Got a shout out to the Black Anime Podcast again. So Blanime Podcast, shout out to Unbothered Mike and Sine. Definitely shout out to Mike Check Waifu with Polo and Tail. Shout out to Worst Gen. I already did that in the beginning. All of y'all, especially Pan, especially Warren, especially GB, especially Leak, especially Sensei, all of y'all, Master D. Shout out to Black Anime. Definitely check out Anime Lately. Also, there is one more. I always forget it. Scuba Steve, yes. Shout out to the Blurred Mind, or Inside the Mind of a Blurred. I'm definitely gonna have Scuba Steve on this podcast one of these days. Me and him gonna talk, because that is a funny dude.
Shout out, I Supply the Product.
Yep.
Phil, he just dropped some new merch. Go cop that.
Yes, sir. Outside of the anime podcast, Relatable versus Debatable, definitely check out Charvon, Sappy, and our boy Haytai. We do have a combination episode with them, so if you haven't checked out that collaboration, definitely do that. But definitely continue to check them out. Definitely continue to check out the session with Trey and Jay, or the session 757. Really dope. 2 people putting in work.
Shout out Essential Grills. I'm getting ready to get my my, you know what I'm saying, together.
Oh, okay.
But they based in Norfolk. That's Essential Grills with a Z. They're based in Norfolk.
Okay.
Anybody that's in the Hampton Roads area, yeah, tap in.
Word. Y'all already know All Black Everything as far as Black business, Black podcasts. We will continue to support and promote these Black businesses and Black podcasts on this podcast itself. This platform is used for that. We are All Black Everything once again. So with that in mind, thank you guys for listening to this edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Once again, be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Be sure that you follow the Facebook page at Chaotic Culture Podcast on Facebook. Give us a like, give us a follow. Definitely go follow us on Instagram at Chaotic Culture Pod. Follow us on Twitter at Chaotic_Culture. You can follow each and every one of us on Instagram. You can follow Nasa at _CallMeNasa. Follow Law at L.Jr_96. I had a brain blip there. And you can follow me at K3D the Pro. You can follow us on Twitter as well. Me with the same handle at K the Pro. Nasa with the same handle at _CallMeNasa, and Law at Law96_. With that, guys, I think that is a wrap for today. It may be, I don't know, I might drop this on either Thursday or Friday, depending on how I'm feeling, because I definitely don't want to hold on to this too long. I would have dropped it a little earlier, but of course, work schedules and sometimes time, it doesn't work on our favor, and especially with me working in car sales now I don't get out of the damn office until anywhere between 8 or 8:30, just depending on if I'm working hard or not. But anyway, guys, we appreciate you listening. Thank you again for joining us here at the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Be blessed, be safe. God is love. Deuces.
One.
Look, it's chaos in these streets, so let's talk about it, please. Let's hold some conversation. You see where I'm coming from. Yes, it's so amazing. Go ahead, get comfortable. You can grab a seat, take a load off your feet. Yeah, welcome to the table. We don't tell no lies over here. This ain't no fable. We just live our lives over here. We ain't no angels. We just shine our light over here. We got the power. We just showing love over here. Cause everybody needs some, yeah. And we don't need a reason. Everybody needs some. And we don't need a reason, cause
We're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture.
Peace.